Hey, fellow air gunners. I wanted to kind of go over my Bulldog with you guys and what I've done with it thus far, and what I plan to do with it in the future. Uh, so obviously the Donnie FL, but so I'll start with the internals. So it's got a polish job on the trigger. The air port has been ported to an M308, so it gets a lot more air to the chamber. It's got the extended air tank, the longest one available, with the huma regulator inside. So this portion of the tank is pressurized to 4,500 psi, and I have my huma regulator set at 2,900 psi. So because of the boat tail round that I'm using, there's a lot more gas escapage on a boat tail than there is a traditional round, but that's a side little rabbit hole for another discussion. At any rate, back to the gun. As I said, it's got the huma regulator. It's also got the power pit bowl spring, and I've got it set 3.5 turns from solid. Back to the extended tank. The problem with the extended tank that I had was that the shroud ended about here, about 4.5 inches too low, which left you with very few options as far as quality silencer. You were left with the 3D printed silencers, which are great silencers, by the way, but they're not intended for everyday use. Like I was shooting my gun, oh goodness, maybe 5 to 8 fills a day. And so that kind of rigorous shooting on a gun that's been ported and tuned to maximize its power capabilities just didn't hold up for those 3D printed silencers, or air moderators, whatever you want to call them. So I really wanted a Donnie FL. So, you know, if you watch some of the other videos I made about it, I had Izzy at Donnie FL actually make me an extension with M18 threads that would thread onto the original length shroud and extend it out past this air tank so that you could fit, you know, a Donnie FL on. And that was fine, but aesthetically, I didn't like the way it looked, so I came up with the brilliant idea of extending the shroud, buying an extra shroud from Crossman, and making essentially one shroud lengthened out of 2 shrouds, so 4.5 inches longer. And I thought, hey, you know, you got that 4.5 extra inches. The barrel actually ends back here somewhere. Why not use this as like a you know, air bleed system before it gets to the air moderator, the Donnie FL. So that's what I did. I put an air stripper in about right here, internally into the shroud, and then I put, of course, the air stripper with the M18 threads right here. And then in between this chamber, I opened up, I welded off the ends of the tube that is on the top of a Bulldog's shroud. And if you're a Bulldog owner, you know exactly the tube I'm talking about. It's hollow. You can actually see through it. But anyway, I welded off both ends, and I put a return line in between where the air strippers are. So essentially in this, the only chamber that's in the shroud, towards the end of the barrel anyway, because the first one, this first chamber is huge. It's just the shroud over the barrel, right? But there's a return line that utilizes this tube which is just a hole drilled into the shroud into this tube with the ends welded, that allows air pressure to then come back, rushing back down this tube. And I've drilled a hole back down here, back into the shroud chamber down here near the base of the barrel, with a one-way valve, and that's just a flapper valve. So by its shape, it won't allow air to go back this way. It only allows air to go this way. Which essentially all you're doing is you're slowing the air down even more before it gets to your Donnie FL. So let's see. I also, upgraded the trigger. Boy, I covered that, the polish job. The one thing I'm not happy about is basically because of the M308 job we did on the airport, it doesn't hold air as well as stock Benjamin does. Like, I'll fill this tank up in the morning, and by the afternoon, if I've not shot any, I might have one shot left of the 2900 psi. So it's all bled off, and it's not because of the seals. I've checked everything. It's because of the plunger, and maybe it's just because I did a poor job of honing that out, because they recommended for the, as far as the pit bull specs on this rifle, they recommended an M308 bit to drill that port out with, and I think it's probably fine in the hands of machinists with the proper equipment, but I think that might be just slightly too big of a bit for me to do it in a way that's not going to damage the air holding integrity of the plunger, because it's just almost too close to the plunger, and again, I think that's my fault. But anyway, so my plan is I'm going to order, actually already have, I've ordered that new, I guess it's the port chamber that the plunger sets in. It's made out of aluminum, aircraft aluminum. And I'm going to order a new one, and I'm going to use a slightly smaller bit. And I think that's going to solve the only issue I really have with the rifle now, and that's the loss of air. I want to be able to take this squirrel hunting, coyote hunting, or whatever, or even just to the range, and not have to worry about loss of air pressure in the tank. And I know most air rifles are going to lose some air. That's just the nature of air rifles. But I want to minimize that to over a few days. I don't like it that it's just like in one day it's over. But anyway, so that's the only other thing I'm going to do to it is I've decided to get away from the real tree camo on the whole gun. I'm going to strip the whole gun down. I've got a quality degreaser that I'm going to clean every last little part. And then I've got a quick drying silicone that I'm going to use to lube the parts that need to be lubed. And then I'm going to spray paint, just as I did the Donnie FL moderator. This is originally black, and I painted it this desert sand color. And I'm going to do the whole gun in this. Everything is going to be done in this color. So, and I'm going to bake the panels so that it's a hardened, durable, which is what I did with the Donnie FL. It's like really scratch resistant if you do it right. You put a coat on, and I just use the oven in my kitchen. But there's videos on how to do all that and make sure that the paint job that you're doing on stuff lasts. And then I'll just kind of take pictures and update you guys as I'm going, but I'm real happy with it. Oh, I did also, I put heavy duty bolts on the gun. So these are, the nuts that I used are those self-tightening, or, you know, it's got a washer built in it, a polyurethane tightening mechanism in it, that, you know, basically you don't need a keeper washer with them. But I used 1, 2, 3 on the major points of the gun. So back here at the buttstock and back here, they're big bolts with reinforcement. And basically I just wanted to make sure that the gun was more durable, you know, walking through the woods with. That's what I was going after. I'm not looking for looks. I don't really, you know, as you can tell, the camo's mismatched on the Shroud. Wasn't really looking to win a beauty pageant. I just wanted a very, very quiet, very powerful 357 Magnum rifle that I could carry in the woods with me, that you can't hear. And that's what I got, but just with a few other minor things that I'm going to do to it, and I'll kind of get the videos. I'll try to videotape what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and kind of keep you guys posted on it. But anyway, that's it for now. Thanks, guys.